A stark reality, scientists in China have unveiled a concept that could forever change the meaning of life, of parenthood, and what it is to be a human. A new arms race is underway, not for military might, but for the very procedure of creation. Our next report telling you more.
That were derived years ago from donated early embryos, or what's called iPS cells, cells that are taken from the skin and turned back into a stem cell state. These are very established technologies. And what we do this time is we put them in a special media that takes them to really, really early stages, what we call naive. So we have to use these human naive stem cells. And then we put each aggregates of 120 cells. And again, in about 1% of the aggregates, we can see that cells start differentiating correctly, migrating and sorting themselves into the correct structure. And the farthest we could get is day 14 in human embryo development. The human embryo makes all its organs basically by week 5 of pregnancy. And we really don't know a lot. It's a black box of how organ formation happens. And it's almost impossible to study this period because the embryo is very small. There are justified ethical limitations to really access such material. Therefore, the goal is really, can we bypass and create some kind of alternative model from cells, from stem cells, and try to make a model for a human embryo. By making these models, and that are very similar, and we can start with stem cells that are engineered, labeled, knock out a gene and so forth, so we can really know which hormones and which genes are important for which organ, and from that knowledge we can try and go back and improve our differentiation protocol. And maybe actually in these embryo models, which is in the end some kind of a differentiation protocols, there might be some cells that are useful actually that you can take and transplant, or take them and expand them and transplant them, or take them and test drugs on them and so forth. So they could be also themselves as a source of cells. I don't think we can ever really make a real identical embryo, just because in the end the uterus environment is really the most normal environment, and it's controllable. I want to emphasize that if you're talking about trying to make a whole baby pregnancy outside the uterus, that is just impossible, because the human embryo is very big. Pregnancy is 9 months. I mean, even in mouse, where pregnancy is very short and the embryo are very small, we can only do so far 10 and a half days. So that is not, it's not that it's not our goal, it's actually also impossible, and there are no concerns about that at all.
We'll be back soon.
All right. So you got this situation with the artificial wombs. I know it's not necessarily hip hop content, but I thought it was interesting. When I first saw it, I was sitting on it with my girl. I was talking to her. One of the things that I wonder about the most in these type of situations, first of all, was who's donating the sperm and who's donating the egg. Who's giving what? If somebody donating the sperm and if somebody donating the egg, okay, then this is a human. You're gonna have the characteristic traits of whoever they're coming from. So then I go to the other joint, because the way that they were talking about it in the first one was making it seem as if they already got the technology down pat and they don't need a human at all. So for me, that was coming into a joint where I'm thinking like, all right. The connection I made with her was like, yo, you know how they say when a horse or an animal is first born, they can walk straight off the back. Some of them can walk straight off the back. They already know to go straight to the mother and feed. It's certain things that you already have programmed into you. And from some of the things that I've seen, a lot of the time they contribute that to your DNA. Most of the time when you hear people say stuff like the reptilian brain, or this is our primal brain, these would be things that I felt like would be considered parts of your DNA. So knowledge, pretty much knowledge that's encoded in your shit. So if they're doing it with neither one, what would the child's thought process be like you would literally not be a human, regardless if you moved. Would it be like Hitman? I wonder like, would the kid come out like Hitman? Would he come out like 47 or something, whereas though you don't have an emotional connection or attachment to certain things? Or how far did the primal thing go being coded into our DNA? So does that even get to a point where though now we're talking about soul? Because I feel like most of the time when you say something about your soul, you're just thinking about, okay, the things that make you personally unique, that you were born with. So scientifically, we would say like something that was like pretty much, like I said, being encoded into your DNA, whether you're growing up through the womb and you already have this connection to the universe. So what would that be for them? Would they have the connection to the universe? Would they be able to go outside and get grounded? I was seeing something on Andrew Schultz this week. As a matter of fact, it was yesterday. Great joint, had a dude on there. It was like a philosopher or something like that, or philosophical dude. And it was kind of like we was talking about the thinking exercises, and sometimes it comes to us with humans where though, like you on side missions, you're just doing shit because you can do it. You know what I mean? Like curiosity, what they say, curiosity killed a cat. And you can surely see, you know what I mean, that it killed some Japanese. You know what I mean? Curiosity, just to see what it would actually do to people. Like, some of the things that we're starting to do, I'm not even going to say AI. AI is actually, in my opinion, is a good thing, and it was a natural evolution. You know what I mean? And I also believe that once again with the AI, at this point anyway, I don't see it. I don't see what everybody else sees. I'm gonna just say that. At this point, I don't see what everybody else sees. At least within my generation. I could possibly see it in the next generation, because the next generation doesn't have as many hang-ups that we have with social interaction and even work. You know what I mean? Speaking something like thinking of my grandfather and them, or my father and them too, like their generation. Let me say that, their generation. And he was a working nigga too. My pops was a working dude. But I'm just saying, as far as you would do the hard work and get less pay, but the mental thought of everybody knowing the type of labor that you did, you know what I mean? Being like, yeah, it take a real man to do this type of shit. It take a real man to be taking tractor wheels off and you're moving them all day or something. Like, this is just what you do. I don't feel like this generation really has that attachment, because you can kind of see that when it comes to basketball. You know what I mean? We're here to get a check. That's not for me to come out here and try to injure myself because I'm trying to prove something to the world as far as outside of myself. You know what I mean? Look, I know why I'm here. I'm here for me. I'm here so I can get this bread, get my situation together, do what I want for my kids, do what I want for my wife, and get a couple extra dollars. You know what I mean? So possibly with them, I can see where it gets to the point where somebody's like, okay, we sure enough want robots to be able to do the majority of our everyday tasks. But of this generation, or even a generation, especially a generation before us, we got an older lady at our job. Her husband works on trust, so she probably doesn't need to be there, but it's the motion, like keeping herself remote, like it's certain shit, you know what I'm saying, from that generation living through, how they like, yo, you keeping yourself in motion, compared to this newer generation. The opposite is more being like, the motion isn't even motion like I'm running to take care of something. It's more so like I'm running to get some money, but I'm chilling in the space that I'm getting money in. I'm going on some relaxation shit. Not to say, and that's why I say even before, not to say that this generation doesn't deal with stress. It's just I think a lot more of this shit is emotional. They get a lot more of the emotional stress than we got. We got it, but we got more physical shit. Whereas though, like your parents getting on your head, or they beating your ass, or even back in the day, your teacher could get on your head. You know what I mean? Even in my generation, like, you know what I mean? The right motherfucker run the neighborhood could get on your head before your people even get to you. So they wasn't using just words all the time to just tear niggas up. Like nowadays, like your people, like some of the parents is like, yo, you're not gonna beat your kid. But your tongue lashing, you know what I mean? Your tongue lashing be different, you know what I mean? Straight to tell a nigga he ain't shit type shit. You like, you smoke this nigga. Like, beat him, please. Please beat this nigga. I'm ashamed for how you talk to him. It's weird to see that some people like, yo, they remind me of tattoos. And then the generation this number cream shit started coming around. My people will come to me like, oh, you got number cream? And the first thing I say to them, like, the pain is the story. The whole purpose to get the tattoo is be like, yeah, I sat through that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I got it right there. You know what I mean? Yeah. It wasn't nothing. It wasn't, oh, this is what it felt like. Because now, like even with me, the words though, you started picking weird spots. Like I got my palm hit. I got the inside of my hand hit. When you start doing shit like that, so it's only 10 of us. You know what I'm saying? So when those niggas is talking tats, and even if they should fire you, like, yeah, boom, I got my shit in my shit. You know what that felt like? Like, you know what I'm saying? You feel like you got some type of tolerance. You feel like you got pain tolerance or something. Like it's a badge for real. Like imagine if you go to war, like niggas is bragging about coming home from war and living through it. Or you know what I mean? Not all of them, but you know what I'm saying. You have war stories. This is the term for a reason. Imagine if all this shit's on computers. Literally, the only purpose to be in the military now would literally be for a paycheck. There's no. If you get a generation growing up without that badge of honor type feeling, where though you know what I mean, you just want to get the cookies. I know it doesn't matter if I get a bag full of acorns, but I want that fucking badge because everybody doesn't have it. You feel what I'm saying? So to be like, yo, you want to have kids, but don't want to go through the pain or the discomfort of having a child. You don't want to have that emotional. The pain of it, in my opinion, is what I believe is what kind of makes that connection up. That's with the mother and the child a little bit more. Like you damn near gave your life for the child, and you can talk that shit. You feel that weight and that burden and that responsibility of the thing that came out of you. You know what I'm saying? At that point, it makes it even easier to have an emotional disconnection with a child. We have adoptions, we have all other types of things that are out here in the world for children that are actually being born and neglected. What happens with the laws when you start having these type of children and then you want to get separated? What did child support look like in a situation when neither one of these parents actually have DNA with the child? Because forcing a father in child support right now is literally only based on DNA. It's solely based on that. Or the father signing. Because you get niggas to where though you signing up for the kid, not knowing. And then you lie there. You know what I mean? But even when you go to the courts, what they're going to do is do the DNA test. Even if you try to fight it, to decide if you're liable or not. So where does that start looking like? There's really no moral in none of this. There's more so me just talking and being like, just solely I thought it was interesting in all actuality. But I really like to know what you think. Do you think that this technology actually gets worked out? Because even though we're talking about it, it's not fully worked out yet. And then what do you think about that second part? With somebody that works inside of the field and saying that, hey, we're not even necessarily there yet. Or even hearing him say that you're trying to do it to get around the ethics of not being able to do shit to kids for stem cell research. So, you let me know. That's my rant for today.